Imagine settling into a quiet moment where the air around you feels cool and welcoming, where your breath deepens naturally as though the world itself is slowing down just for you. There is a softness in the atmosphere, a promise of calm hidden in the distant hush of approaching rain. The light fades gently, shadows lengthening across the room or bed where you rest. And as you breathe with a slow, peaceful rhythm, let this simple question drift through your mind. Where are you watching from tonight? You don't have to answer. You don't even have to stay awake. Just let yourself settle. Let your thoughts loosen like leaves drifting in a breeze. Imagine standing beneath a vast sky, covered in soft grey clouds that stretch endlessly toward the horizon. The world feels muted, as though wrapped in a calm blanket of quiet expectation. A cool breeze brushes lightly against your skin, carrying the fresh scent of rain-soaked earth. Before the first drop even falls, you hear distant thunder, not sharp or frightening, but low and steady, like the earth speaking in a slow, ancient voice. Have you ever wondered why the air smells different before it rains? Long ago, scientists discovered that plants release tiny oils during dry spells, letting them settle into the soil. When rain arrives, droplets stir these oils into the air along with a compound called geosmin, made by gentle soil microbes. Together they create that soft, earthy perfume, petrichor, a scent of renewal, a quiet reminder that the world knows how to refresh itself. Imagine that smell now, the sweet mineral fragrance rising softly from the ground. Feel your shoulders fall a little. Hear the hush of wind moving through leaves. Notice how calm everything becomes. Let yourself drift deeper into that stillness. You don't need to hold on to every moment. If you drift, that's perfect. Rain begins almost invisibly, with one tiny drop landing on a leaf, then another. Then a gentle pattern forms like fingertips brushing lightly across the world. Each drop is a small, cool kiss from the sky, and together they create a soothing melody, soft, ancient, rhythmic. Have you ever noticed how rain on a roof can lull you into sleep? Each drop falls with its own quiet intention. Each sound blends with the next. The rhythm becomes a lullaby. Imagine sitting by a window as the rain begins to trace delicate patterns down the glass. Feel the cool air drifting in through a small opening. Hear the gentle tapping like tiny heartbeats. Notice the world outside becoming hazier, softer. Let your breath fall into the same easy rhythm. Thunder rumbles again in the distance, low and stretched out across the sky like a slow exhale. Storms don't always roar. Some simply murmur to themselves, rolling gently across clouds, humming a deep and soothing tone that vibrates quietly through the air. Did you know thunder can travel for miles, its low frequencies drifting farther than the higher ones? Imagine that sound now, not alarming, not startling, but comforting. A reminder that the sky is alive, breathing slowly above you. Long ago, travelers noticed that certain storms arrived with a warm breeze, while others carried a sudden drop in temperature. These shifts weren't random, they were the gentle signatures of approaching pressure changes. Warm rain often appears during summer storms. Cool rain often accompanies the quiet approach of large cloud systems drifting patiently across continents. Imagine feeling that temperature shift on your skin, the world leaning gently from warm to cool, the breeze brushing past you like soft fabric. Let yourself melt into that feeling. Some raindrops evaporate before they ever reach the ground, creating curtains of vapor called virga that trail beneath clouds like silver threads dissolving into the air. From afar they look like ghostly rain, falling but never landing. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to stand beneath Virga and sense the rain without ever being touched by it? Picture that moment. A coolness in the air, a faint shimmer of falling moisture. No impact, just presence. Let yourself drift into that image. You don't have to stay alert. You don't have to focus. You're allowed to rest. Storm clouds themselves move in slow, graceful patterns. Some rise like mountains of mist, their tops illuminated by faint flashes of distant lightning. Others stretch flat across the sky, blending into one single plane of soft grey. In gentle storms, the clouds seem to breathe, lifting, falling, pulsing with the quiet energy of water rising through the atmosphere. Imagine lying on your back in a safe, sheltered place, watching those clouds drift overhead. Feel the calm weight of the moment. Hear the gentle patter of rain around you. Smell the freshness of wet earth. Notice how the world seems to slow. Let your entire body unclench. Lightning in gentle storms often hides behind clouds, illuminating them with soft flashes that glow like lanterns in mist. No sharp edges, no sudden bursts, just a slow blooming of light that fades as quietly as it appeared. Have you ever seen lightning glow without striking, just illuminating clouds from within? Imagine that now. A soft pulse of brightness behind a curtain of grey, a glow that feels like a heartbeat, a momentary lantern in the sky, and you, resting wherever you are, may begin to feel your own internal weather become calmer, softer, quieter. As raindrops continue falling, they collect on leaves, one drop merging slowly into another until they grow heavy enough to slide off in a single smooth motion. This gentle movement is called drip flow, a slow release of water that nourishes soil and helps prevent erosion. Forests depend on it. The earth welcomes it. Imagine listening to those slow drips in a forest. A drop, then silence. Another drop, then deeper silence. Hear the rhythm forming. Feel your breath match that unhurried pattern. You don't have to keep your eyes open. You don't have to stay fully awake. It's okay if your awareness fades like distant thunder. Some raindrops fall perfectly formed, shaped by air resistance into a gentle teardrop-like curve. Not the pointed tear we draw on paper, but a rounded, flattened shape like a tiny cushion of water riding the wind. Larger drops split into smaller ones mid-air. Smaller drops join to form wider ones. They dance in patterns so delicate and slow that they feel like choreography. Imagine watching those drops float past you in slow motion. Feel the cool mist on your cheeks. Hear the soft hiss of light rain falling through trees. Notice the soothing silence between each cluster of drops. Let yourself drift deeper. You might already be drifting. You might feel your thoughts sliding into softness. That's exactly what should happen. Because gentle storms aren't just weather. They're lullabies from the sky. A gentle welcome drifts toward you now, like the faintest mist brushing across an open field at dusk. You've arrived here in a quiet moment, and as you settle into whatever space holds you tonight, your bed, your couch, somewhere peaceful, you can allow your breath to soften. Let your chest rise slowly, fall slowly, and feel your body easing into stillness. Before we drift deeper into this soothing world of rainfall and soft storms, let a calm question float through your mind. Are you somewhere warm as you listen to this? You don't need to answer. You don't need to stay awake. You can drift whenever you're ready. Imagine standing at the edge of a quiet meadow just before a gentle storm arrives. The air feels thick with expectation, warm and cool at once, as if the sky itself is taking a slow, patient breath. A soft breeze brushes your skin, carrying hints of damp earth and distant clouds. Above you, the sky deepens into muted shades of grey-blue, like watercolour spreading across ancient parchment. Have you ever noticed how the world becomes strangely still before rain begins, as if every leaf, every blade of grass is listening? Long ago, early observers noticed this stillness too. They wrote of skies that held their breath and winds that curled inward. Today, we understand this quiet pause as the moment when pressure shifts, when the air cools and the atmosphere prepares to release its weight. Yet the science hasn't taken away the magic. If anything, it adds to it. Because even knowing the reason, the calm before rain still feels like a gentle promise. Imagine that moment now. Feel the heaviness of the air resting softly around you. Hear the faint rustling of grass as a tender wind passes through. Notice the coolness brushing your cheeks. Let yourself settle into that pre-storm hush. It's okay if your thoughts begin to wander like drifting clouds. It's okay if your eyelids feel heavy. You don't need to follow every word. The first drops of rain usually form high in the sky, where tiny particles, dust, salt, pollen, wait quietly for moisture to gather around them. Each drop begins as a speck no larger than a grain of smoke, collecting microscopic layers of water as it falls. Long ago, people believed raindrops formed from tears of the sky gods or dew lifted back into the heavens. But the truth is even gentler. Raindrops are born from the smallest pieces of the world, carried upward by soft currents of air, wrapped in cool vapour, then returned to us in a delicate descent. Have you ever wondered how a single raindrop can feel so calming against your skin? Imagine holding out your hand as the first drops fall. Feel the cool tap on your palm, soft and rhythmic. Hear the quiet plinks as water touches leaves, branches, stones. Smell the subtle sweetness rising from the earth, the scent called petrichor, formed when rain awakens hidden oils within the soil. Notice how everything feels refreshed before the shower even begins. Let yourself breathe that freshness into your chest. It's okay to drift off into this imagery. Your mind can float like a leaf carried by the calm wind. No effort required. When rain begins lightly, each drop falls independently. But when the drizzle deepens, raindrops start merging in mid-air, becoming larger, heavier, warmer. Some fall diagonally in the breeze, others drift almost sideways, carried by invisible currents. A raindrop's journey from cloud to earth can take only minutes, or, in the softest storms, long wandering paths that make them fall slowly, gracefully, like tiny parachutists descending through grey light. Have you ever stood in gentle rain and felt as if time slowed? Imagine walking down a quiet path as the rain begins to whisper around you. Feel the droplets landing softly on your hair and shoulders. Hear the crisp ticking of rain on nearby leaves. Smell the way the world seems to open, welcoming the storm. Notice how every sound becomes softer, rounder, more soothing. Let yourself melt into that rhythm. Thunderstorms begin gently too, though we often forget it. It starts as warm air rising slowly into cooler heights, expanding, swirling, releasing energy the way a sigh releases tension from a tired body. Before any thunder rolls, the cloud builds itself from countless droplets, merging into towering shapes that stretch like soft mountains across the sky. Inside these clouds, tiny ice crystals drift and collide, each collision releasing a faint electric whisper. Millions of such whispers gather, charge, grow, and even then, the storm holds itself quietly, waiting for balance to tip. Have you ever wondered what clouds feel right before they release lightning? Picture the interior of a storm cloud now, not chaotic, not violent, but slow, swirling, rhythmic, like breath. Tiny droplets rising, tiny crystals falling, soft currents weaving through mist, a calm dance building into something powerful yet patient. As you rest here, it's okay if you fade in and out. You don't need to remember the facts. They settle naturally, like rain settling into soil. Some raindrops never reach the ground. They evaporate mid-fall, disappearing into warm air in a phenomenon called virga. You may have seen this before, streaks of rain trailing beneath clouds but dissolving before touching earth, like silver threads unraveling into nothingness. There is something deeply calming in knowing that even rain can vanish without a sound, without leaving a mark. Imagine watching virga from a quiet hilltop. Feel the cool breeze brushing your shoulders. Hear distant thunder rumbling softly. Smell the faint mineral scent drifting through the air. Notice how the falling streaks fade gently, like memories dissolving at the edges. Let yourself dissolve with them, just a little. You might already be drifting. That's perfect. You're allowed to drift with the rain. Rain doesn't always fall as drops. Sometimes it drifts as mist, so fine you don't feel the drops, only the coolness on your skin. Sometimes it falls as sheets, soft waves moving across fields in shimmering curtains. Sometimes it arrives in pulses, like a slow heartbeat of the sky. Have you ever stood in rain so soft you could barely hear it? Imagine that now. The quiet hiss on the ground, the faint patter on leaves, the gentle pulse of water moving through air. Feel how calming it becomes, how small each moment feels, yet how vast the world appears when softened by rain. Let the sound settle into you. Some storms carry lightning that never reaches the ground, cloud-to-cloud flashes that illuminate the sky like silent lanterns. These distant storms feel dreamlike, glowing softly in the horizon, their thunder too far away to hear. Sailors once called them heat storms or ghost storms, believing they were signs of spirits wandering over the ocean. Imagine watching such a storm from a warm place. See the sky illuminated in gentle pulses. Feel the safe distance. Hear only your own quiet breathing. Let yourself drift on that light. You don't need to stay awake for the second half. If sleep arrives now, it's welcome. If not, I'll continue the storm's gentle story whenever you say so. Imagine settling into a quiet place within yourself, where your breath moves slowly and the world feels softened around the edges. The air near you feels cool, almost like the moment before a gentle rainfall, when the sky seems to pause in a deep inhalation. Let your shoulders loosen. Let the rhythm of your breath match the rhythm of a calm, distant drizzle. Before we drift deeper, I'll whisper a soft invitation. Let yourself rest, wherever you are. It's okay if you drift while listening. Imagine standing beneath a sky covered in pale grey clouds. Feel the smooth weight of humidity brushing across your skin. Hear the faint rustling of leaves anticipating the first drops. Notice the stillness, the kind of stillness that always comes before rain. Let yourself settle into that quiet. Have you ever wondered how raindrops begin? Long ago, high in the silent layers of the atmosphere, tiny grains of dust, salt, and pollen floated freely. Clouds gathered around them, drop by drop, forming small spheres of water too light to fall. These droplets drifted gently, colliding with others, growing in weight and shape until the sky felt ready to release them. Picture that process now, a droplet forming around a speck of dust, growing heavier, growing rounder, growing patient, You don't need to stay awake for every detail. It's okay to drift. You might already be drifting. The soft scent before rain, petrichor, comes from oils released by plants during dry days. When raindrops finally touch earth, these oils rise into the air, blending with earthy compounds released by soil-dwelling microbes. That smell you love is a collaboration between roots, raindrops, and quiet organisms deep beneath your feet. Imagine inhaling that fragrance now. Cool, fresh, clean, almost nostalgic. Feel it sink into your chest like a deep sigh. There's a gentle truth hidden in every storm. Not all storms are loud. Many begin silently as warm air rises in slow currents, spiraling upward until it meets colder layers. When warm and cool air meet, clouds begin to form, soft shapes drifting across the sky, gathering moisture drop by drop. Sometimes storms start with barely a whisper. Sometimes the earth grows quiet before the first raindrop falls. Sometimes the only sign is a subtle change in wind, like a breath brushing softly past your ear. Have you ever noticed how the world seems to hold its breath before a gentle rain? Imagine standing in a field as wind shifts direction. Feel strands of hair brushing lightly against your face. Hear the distant rustle of tall grass swaying. Smell the cool air drifting toward you. Notice how time slows, as if nature has entered a calm conversation with itself. Let yourself drift into that quiet conversation. Rain begins as a promise. A gathering, a lingering softness waiting to fall. Each droplet you feel on your skin has travelled through the atmosphere, shaping itself through countless collisions. Every raindrop is unique, not in a dramatic way, but in a soft mathematical dance where temperature, humidity, and air movement sculpt delicate differences into their forms. Imagine holding a single raindrop in your palm, magnified large enough to see its curves, smooth, spherical, alive with subtle motion. You may notice your eyelids getting heavy. That's okay, that's intended. Let them fall if they wish. Long ago, ancient civilizations believed rain was the sky's way of offering comfort to the earth. Soft tears of joy or grief, depending on the season. In many cultures, gentle rain was seen as a blessing, a quiet reassurance that life would continue, that rivers would flow, that seeds would grow beneath the soil. Imagine seeds resting in dark earth. Feel the weight of soil above them. Hear the faint patter of rain reaching down. Notice how seeds absorb this water, swelling slightly, softening, preparing to awaken. Let yourself soften with them. Storm clouds, even the calm ones, are masterpieces of slow architecture. They stretch for miles, forming vast cathedrals of moisture and air. Some rise so high that their tops freeze into delicate crystals, floating like tiny stars inside the shadowy towers of water vapor. Have you ever wondered how something as soft as vapor can form something so massive? Picture a cloud expanding, rising, shaping itself with invisible hands of wind. Feel its cool shadow passing over you. Hear your breath echo in that stillness. Notice how peace settles into your chest. Let yourself drift. Raindrops sometimes form so slowly that they evaporate before reaching the ground, creating streaks called virga, rain that falls but never touches earth. From far away, these streaks look like soft curtains drifting from clouds, dissolving mid-air like forgotten dreams. Imagine watching virga fall in a quiet desert. The sky glows peach and lavender. The air feels warm around your face. The rain never reaches you, but its presence calms the land. Let yourself drift with those dissolving curtains. You don't need to stay present. You don't need to remember this. You may drift into sleep whenever you're ready. Raindrops fall at different speeds depending on size, but even the fastest ones float through air with surprising grace, slowed by air resistance, shaped into soft teardrops, drifting downward in tender arcs. Some fall straight, others sway gently, caught in small curls of wind that shift their path. Imagine looking up and seeing rainfall in slow motion, each drop drifting, each drop glowing faintly in the soft light, each drop dancing with the air itself. Let the rhythm of that vision settle into you. Clouds carry electrical charges long before lightning appears. Even small storms create gentle imbalances that build slowly, like two hands reaching toward each other from across a room. Lightning is simply the moment where those hands meet, brief, bright, but born from long stretches of quiet anticipation. Imagine holding that anticipation in your palms, a soft tingling, a hush of energy, a silent gathering of light. You don't need to think about it. Just breathe, just drift. Rain can fall warm or cold depending on the layers of air it passes through. Some storms drop warm, soothing rain that slides across skin like a soft blanket. Other storms create cool rain that wakes the senses gently, refreshing the world after long heat. Imagine warm rain brushing against your cheeks. Feel its soothing weight. Hear its steady whisper. Smell the rising fragrance of earth. Notice how your body relaxes instinctively. Let it. All rain, gentle or strong, begins as a quiet moment in the sky. A single droplet forming around a tiny particle. A soft beginning. A small promise. A whisper. Just like this moment with you. The sky softens. The clouds gather. The world exhales. And you're drifting. Slowly, calmly, easily. Imagine settling into a quiet space within yourself, a place where the air feels soft and your thoughts slow down, becoming lighter with every breath. Outside your window, the world feels hushed, wrapped in the tender quiet that arrives before rain. The sky hangs in a dreamy shade of grey-blue, as though the horizon is covered in a warm blanket. As you breathe, let this soft question drift through your mind like a cloud moving lazily overhead. Are you in bed, on a couch, or somewhere peaceful right now? You don't have to answer. You don't have to stay awake. This is a place where drifting is welcome. Imagine a gentle breeze brushing against your skin. Imagine the sky darkening slowly, not with fear, but with comfort, like dimming the lights before sleep. Imagine the faint scent of rain arriving before a single drop touches the earth. Have you ever wondered why the world smells different right before it rains? There is something tender happening in the air. Tiny plant oils rising from dry soil, mixing with the approaching moisture. Together they create that soft, earthy scent called petrichor. It drifts around you like an old memory, calming, grounding, familiar. As you inhale, you may feel your body loosen just a little, as though the earth itself is telling you it's okay to rest now. You don't need to stay alert. You don't need to catch every word. Let yourself drift. Picture clouds gathering above you, slow and heavy, moving with the deep patience that weather has known for millions of years. Each cloud is made of countless droplets, suspended in the air like tiny lanterns waiting to fall. They drift together, colliding gently, fusing into larger drops until gravity finally whispers, "Come down," softly. Imagine standing at the edge of a quiet field as the first drop lands. Feel the cool touch on your skin. Hear the faint tap it makes on a leaf. Smell the air becoming sweeter. Notice how everything slows, Let yourself slow with it. Rain begins tenderly, a single drop, then another, then dozens, then thousands, each one falling with the soft intention of easing the world back into balance. Have you ever wondered how far a raindrop travels before it reaches the ground? Long ago, scientists discovered that raindrops begin their journey high above the earth, sometimes miles up, forming around tiny particles of dust, sea salt, or pollen. These particles act as seeds, guiding water vapor to gather, merge, and grow. Without them, rain couldn't form at all. Each drop is shaped by the smallest fragments of the world, carried upward by winds and returned downward with quiet purpose. Imagine that journey, a droplet forming in cool air, growing, falling, swaying side to side in a soft downward dance. Let yourself fall with it, slowly, gently. It's okay if your eyes grow heavy. Sometimes raindrops fall so slowly that they seem to float. Sometimes they race downward, shaped by the wind, stretched into teardrops or flattened into discs. They strike leaves, roofs, rivers, skin, each surface creating its own soft sound. Have you ever noticed how rain becomes a different song depending on where it lands? Tap against glass, drum against soil, whisper against grass, pat softly against umbrellas, ripple against water, each sound its own lullaby. The world becomes an orchestra of droplets. Imagine standing beneath a forest canopy. Hear the leaves above you shivering under the weight of raindrops. Feel the cool dampness in the air. Smell the deep scent of moss and bark. Notice how the forest relaxes under the rain, as though it has been waiting for this moment. Let yourself relax with it. You don't need to stay awake. You don't need to understand everything. You're allowed to dissolve into this moment like mist. Long ago, storytellers believed rain was the sky's way of remembering the earth. That storms formed when clouds grew heavy with unspoken memories, releasing them drop by drop. Others believed thunder was the sky stretching, yawning, settling into place. These stories weren't scientific, but they were gentle attempts to understand something powerful yet soft. And storms are soft in their own way. Even lightning, a brilliant flash of energy, begins as a quiet imbalance in the sky that grows patiently until it must release. Thunder is simply the air sighing afterward. Have you ever wondered why thunder feels so calming when you're safe indoors? The low rumble travels through the ground and through your chest, settling into your bones like a deep, distant drum. Slow, rhythmic, ancient. The body recognizes that sound, not as danger, but as something familiar from long before human time, a reminder of nature's heartbeat. Picture watching lightning from a safe shelter. See the sky brighten for an instant. Feel the gentle pause before the sound. Hear the long, rolling echo as it fades. Notice how your muscles release tension. Let yourself lean into that comfort. Some storms never release lightning at all, only waves of warm rain drifting down from towering clouds. Some storms produce gentle sheet lightning, spreading like soft light behind clouds without sharp flashes. Some storms hum with distant thunder so low it feels like the earth is purring. Have you ever noticed how storms make the world darker but never empty? Imagine sitting beside a window as the rain thickens. Droplets race down the glass, merging, separating, leaving trails like delicate veins. Streetlights blur into glowing halos. Trees sway slowly, rocking in the wind. The world becomes soft around the edges. Let yourself soften too. You might already be drifting. That's okay. You don't need to resist. You're safe. Rain cools the world after long heat, Rain feeds rivers and renews lakes. Rain washes dust from the air. Rain softens hard soil. Rain helps seeds break open and grow. Rain carries nutrients gently into the roots of plants. The entire planet depends on these quiet rhythms. Imagine hearing rain on a rooftop while lying in bed. Feel your blanket warm around you. Hear the gentle tapping. Notice the rhythm, unpredictable yet soothing. Let your breath match its pace. Imagine settling into a quiet place inside yourself, as if your mind is a small room warmed by soft twilight. You breathe in slowly. The air feels calm and cool against your skin. Outside, the world begins to shift as clouds gather in tender shades of grey and blue. Their edges blur softly, like watercolour strokes melting into one another. You can almost hear the hush before the rain, that delicate pause when the sky seems to inhale, preparing to exhale a gentle blessing over the earth. And as you rest there, safe and unhurried, a soft question drifts toward you, barely more than a whisper. Are you somewhere peaceful right now? You don't need to answer. You don't even need to stay awake. This chapter is here to cradle you. Imagine standing beneath a vast sky heavy with soft clouds, the kind that glow faintly in muted daylight. Feel the cool wind brushing past your cheeks, carrying the faint scent of distant rain, that earthy, nostalgic aroma that settles somewhere deep inside your memory. Hear the faint rustle of leaves as they prepare for the first drop. Notice the stillness, the way the world pauses, the way even birds grow quiet. Let yourself drift into that pause. Have you ever wondered how a raindrop begins? Long ago, high above where mountain peaks touch the sky, tiny particles of dust, salt, or pollen drifted into clouds. Around each particle, moisture gathered, bead by bead, breath by breath, until the droplet became heavy enough to fall. Every raindrop carries a story. Every raindrop begins with a single microscopic seed. And as you breathe softly, you might feel comfort in knowing that something so small can begin something so calming. Rain is one of nature's gentlest storytellers. It falls slowly. It whispers softly. It gathers without urgency. Some drops drift sideways in light wind. Others slide straight down like delicate threads drawn by gravity's steady hand. Together they create a rhythm that settles your mind into a soft, lulling calm. It's okay if your thoughts start to wander. It's okay if your eyes grow heavy. You don't need to hold on to every word. Imagine now that you're standing beneath a large tree as rain begins to fall. Feel the cool droplets tapping on wide leaves above you. Hear the soft patter, like fingertips drumming lightly on paper. Smell the fresh petrichor rising from warm ground. Notice how the sound changes as rain grows steadier. Let yourself melt gently into the moment. Rain doesn't fall randomly. It forms patterns shaped by temperature, wind, and the shape of the land. Even gentle showers follow invisible pathways across the air. Some droplets evaporate before reaching the ground, disappearing silently into the warm currents. Others cling to leaves, gathering into small pools that slide off with a soft tinkling sound. Have you ever noticed how the first few drops always feel cooler, sharper, like tiny messengers announcing the storm's arrival? Long ago, people believed each kind of rain carried meaning. Soft drizzle was considered a blessing, nourishing crops without flooding them. Light storms were said to cleanse the air, washing away dust and worry. Gentle showers were seen as moments when the sky spoke quietly to the earth. Imagine a slow drizzle now. Feel it on your arms, cool and delicate. Hear its soft taps on the roof above you. Notice how the sound settles your breath. Let yourself drift a little deeper. Some clouds release rain from great heights, allowing droplets to fall for minutes before touching the ground. Others sit lower, sending rain down gently, almost lazily. There are clouds that hold rain for hours, refusing to let go until evening. There are clouds that begin raining the moment they form. In some places, rain carries the scent of ocean salt. In others, it carries aromas of pine forests, desert dust, or rain-soaked stone. Every region has its own signature smell of rain, its own soft fingerprint. You don't need to stay awake to understand any of this. It's okay if sleep pulls you closer. It's okay to drift. Have you ever wondered why raindrops seem to make everything feel quieter? When rain falls, it absorbs sound, softening the edges of the world. Distant traffic becomes a low hum. Birdsong becomes muted. The air becomes thick with gentle hush. It feels like the world is whispering. Imagine sitting by a window now. Feel the softness of the cushion beneath you. Hear the patter of rain against the glass, rhythmic and soothing. Smell the wet breeze drifting through a slightly open pane. Notice the tiny rivers forming as droplets merge and slide downward. Let the sight relax your mind. Some raindrops are perfectly round as they fall. Others become teardrop-shaped, flattened slightly by the air pushing against them. Some are so small they drift like mist. Others grow heavy and splash on the ground in tiny bursts of coolness. A long time ago, sailors learned to predict storms by watching the shapes of clouds. Soft, layered clouds meant gentle rain. Tall, towering ones meant heavier storms. Wisps high in the sky predicted change. Nature always speaks, softly, patiently, for those who listen. You might not hear every part of this chapter. You might drift in and out. That's perfect. Your mind is allowed to wander like falling rain. Imagine walking down an empty street at night while gentle rain falls. Feel the cool droplets on your face. Hear them tapping softly on rooftops and puddles. See the streetlights reflecting on wet pavement like blurry stars. Notice how warm and safe the world feels in that moment. Let yourself sink into that sensation. Some raindrops fall warm in tropical places. Others fall icy in winter storms. Some fall through sunlight, forming rainbows. Others fall through moonlight, creating invisible silver threads that only your imagination can see. Have you ever noticed how storms make the air smell cleaner afterward? That's because rain captures dust, pollen, and tiny particles, gently bringing them to the ground. It resets the world. It softens everything. Let your breath soften too. Let your body release tension you didn't know you were carrying. Let yourself rest. Imagine settling into a place where the air feels cool and the world around you softens into shades of silver and deep blue. A quiet drizzle begins somewhere far away, delicate and patient, drifting toward you like a slow breath from the sky. You feel the space around you loosen, the edges of the day dissolving into something gentler, and as your body settles, your breathing follows, slow, steady, peaceful. Before the rain fully arrives, a soft question drifts through your mind, not demanding an answer, just opening a doorway to calm. Where are you watching from tonight? You don't need to think about it. You don't need to stay awake. You can drift whenever you wish. Imagine now that you're standing beneath a soft grey sky, the kind that holds water inside its belly with quiet patience. The first droplets fall, slow, spaced apart, landing on the earth with barely a sound. Feel the cool mist brushing your skin. Hear the faint patter against leaves like tiny fingertips tapping gently across the forest canopy. Notice the smell rising from the ground, the scent of wet earth, ancient and comforting, drifting upward in warm waves. This is petrichor, one of rain's oldest gifts, a smell created by bacteria in soil releasing invisible molecules when touched by water, a reminder that even storms begin softly, with small stories unfolding in the dirt beneath your feet. Have you ever wondered why the world feels cleaner after rain? Long ago, early scientists noticed something remarkable. Rain didn't just fall, it gathered particles from the air, dust floating high above cities, pollen drifting across meadows, tiny fragments of the world travelling unseen. As raindrops fell, they collected these specks, pulling them back toward Earth with quiet efficiency. And in this way, rain became a gentle cleanser, sweeping the atmosphere without force, redistributing the sky's forgotten fragments. Imagine reaching out your hand now. A drop lands softly on your palm, cool, light, perfectly formed. Feel how it spreads across your skin, settling with ease. Hear the faint rhythm of more droplets joining it. Notice the sky thickening with soft grey light. Let yourself sink into that moment. You don't need to hold on. Your mind can drift the way raindrops drift, falling, floating, dissolving. Rain begins high above you as vapour, tiny molecules rising from oceans, rivers, leaves, even your breath. These molecules gather around dust particles, clinging in thin, delicate layers. Slowly they grow until they become heavy enough to release. A drop is born, not with noise but with patience. Picture that formation, water drifting upward as invisible mist, collecting into tiny spheres too light to fall, joining together into clouds, then finally letting go. Have you ever felt the comfort of letting go at the right moment? Rain knows this instinctively. Imagine walking through a quiet city street after a long day. The pavement reflects soft gold from passing lamps. The drizzle turns each light into a blurry star. The air feels fresher, easier to breathe. That freshness exists because rain captures impurities and returns them to the ground. A gentle cycle, a quiet renewal. You don't need to listen closely. Perhaps you're already half asleep. That's perfect. Some raindrops fall fast and heavy. Others drift lazily, caught in layers of wind that guide them in spirals before they reach the ground. Some never reach the ground at all, evaporating mid-air, forming ghostly showers known as virga, falling from clouds like silky curtains that vanish before they touch the earth. Imagine standing beneath a virga shower, rain falling but never landing. Feel the cool wind brushing your cheeks. Hear the distant whisper of droplets dissolving in warm air. Notice how the world feels suspended, caught between falling and rising. Let yourself drift with it. Have you ever noticed how quiet the world becomes before a storm? Animals pause, wind softens, clouds thicken, the air holds its breath. This moment of stillness, called the calm before the storm, happens when warm air rises quickly, creating a pocket of soft pressure below. The world becomes muted, edges blur, even thoughts seem to slow, as if the mind is sinking with the atmosphere. Let yourself slow too. A long time ago, sailors learned to read storms by watching the surface of the sea. When small ripples shifted into patterns that resembled brushed silk, they knew rain was coming. The sea speaks to those who watch softly enough. Imagine standing on a coastline. Waves roll in, calm and deliberate. The horizon loses its sharp line. Mist gathers on your lips, cool and salty. Clouds deepen in colour, blue, then purple, then soft charcoal. Rain approaches with ancient certainty. Let your breath follow its rhythm. You may drift away now. You don't need to stay until the end. Sleep can take you whenever it likes. Raindrops don't always fall alone. Sometimes they merge in mid-air, forming larger drops that fall faster with a deeper sound. Sometimes they separate, dividing into smaller droplets that flutter like fragile wings. The speed of a raindrop depends on its size, its shape, the air around it. Small drops fall slowly, whispering against your window. Large drops fall with soft thuds, tapping out slow patterns that calm the mind. Have you ever listened to rain until sounds no longer felt like sounds, but like thoughts dissolving? Imagine lying beneath a roof during a nighttime storm. Water taps gently above you, each drop a tiny heartbeat from the sky. The pattern shifts, slows, deepens. Hear the soft resonance of rain on metal, on leaves, on earth. Smell the coolness entering the room. Feel your body sinking further into rest. Let yourself drift, quietly. Lightning forms when clouds become charged, separating positive and negative energies high above. And yet, despite its power, the moment before lightning is almost completely silent, still, heavy, timeless. Thunder follows as a soft roll or a distant echo, depending on how far you are. It is only sound, air expanding, speaking softly of the sky's brief energy. Nothing more, nothing threatening, just the sky exhaling. You don't need to be awake for this part. You don't need to hear it. Your mind can rest. Rainwater carries tiny minerals from the air, calcium, magnesium, traces of salt, returning them to soil that needs them. The earth drinks calmly. Plants lift their leaves in quiet gratitude. Some trees open microscopic pores only when rain falls, allowing nutrients to enter. Nature moves gently, even in storms. Imagine touching a leaf after rainfall. Drops cling to its surface like glass beads. Feel the coolness on your fingertips. Hear the soft sound of the drop falling when you tilt the leaf. Smell the green scent rising from stems and grass. Notice how alive everything feels after rain. Let that aliveness move through you too. Some rain never touches land at all. It falls into oceans, joining currents that have been moving for centuries. Some rain falls on glaciers, becoming ancient ice. Some rain fills small puddles where insects skate lightly across the surface. Some rain collects in cupped leaves, becoming drinking water for birds. Some rain lands on your skin, cool and fleeting. Have you ever wondered how many raindrops have touched the earth since the beginning of time? Every drop you feel has lived before, evaporated, condensed, fallen, returned. A cycle older than mountains. You are part of that cycle too, breathing, resting, drifting. You don't need to stay awake. Just let yourself dissolve into this gentle rhythm. Imagine settling into a quiet moment where the world around you feels hushed. The air slightly cooler, the sky dimming in a way that feels like a slow exhale from the earth itself. As you breathe in softly, the scent of moisture begins to slide into the air, that clean, tender fragrance that arrives just before rain. You don't need to do anything but relax. The world is gently preparing itself, and in that softness, a calm question drifts your way. Are you somewhere peaceful right now? You don't need to answer. You don't need to stay awake. Let yourself drift wherever you want to drift. Imagine standing beneath a vast sky, clouds stretching like quiet mountains above you. They move slowly, slow enough for your mind to follow without effort. The wind hums faintly, brushing your skin with a coolness that feels like a whisper of something ancient. And as you breathe, you feel yourself soften, as though part of you is dissolving into the air. Have you ever wondered how a single raindrop begins its life? High above the world, Inside clouds built from the smallest fragments of vapor, raindrops form with patience. They begin as microscopic dust particles, tiny seeds floating in silence, around which moisture gathers, slowly, delicately, layer by layer. Each droplet is a quiet world growing in weight until gravity calls it downward. Imagine that droplet suspended in the soft grey belly of a cloud. See the pale light filtering around it. Feel the cold air swirling gently. Hear nothing but the faint murmur of wind. Notice the delicate shimmer along the droplet's surface. Let yourself drift with it. You don't need to stay alert for this. You might not remember it later. That's okay. Rain begins long before it falls. Clouds form from warm air lifting skyward, carrying vapor that cools into droplets. Some droplets freeze and melt again as they rise and fall in quiet loops inside the cloud. Some drift sideways for hours. Some merge with others, becoming heavier, rounder, fuller. Have you ever felt the air change just before rain begins? A soft thickening, as though the sky is leaning closer? Imagine walking across an open field right before a gentle storm arrives. Feel the breeze brushing your arms. Hear leaves trembling faintly. Smell petrichor, the scent of earth reacting to the first touch of moisture. Notice how the world hushes itself as the sky prepares. Let your shoulders relax, let your mind drift. A single raindrop falls at about the speed of a gentle jog, never rushing, cushioned by air. Some fall straighter than others, some sway like pendulums, some ride small currents created by wind. Each one is its own tiny traveller. Imagine watching millions of droplets forming a soft curtain across the world. Hear the faint patter as they land on leaves. Feel the cool mist brushing your face. Notice the rhythm forming in the storm. Let yourself fall into that rhythm. Long ago, people believed storms were messages from the sky, soft warnings, quiet blessings, or echoes of distant spirits. But the truth is even more peaceful. Storms are simply the atmosphere rearranging itself, releasing energy in a slow, natural balancing act. Rain falls to cool the air. Clouds form to carry moisture, lightning clears static from the sky. Thunder is only a soft after effect of light's quiet expansion. Nothing about a storm is angry. Nothing is spiteful. Nature doesn't rage. It balances. Have you ever noticed how calm the world feels during a gentle storm? The way the sound becomes a soft blanket? The way the air feels heavier but safer somehow? Imagine listening to rain on a rooftop, each drop landing with its own tone, some sharp, some delicate, some merging into streams that slide down gutters with a quiet sigh. Feel the sound wrap around you. Hear it smoothing out the rough edges of your thoughts. Let yourself rest. It's okay to drift. It's okay to fade in and out. You don't need to be fully present. In tropical climates, rain can start suddenly. Warm, dense, full of scent. In cooler climates, rain begins as mist, tiny droplets floating more than falling. In deserts, rain is rare but transformative, awakening seeds that have slept for years. In mountains, rain shifts to snow, then back to rain in a gentle cycle of melting and freezing. Imagine standing on a hill, watching distant rain sweep across the landscape in slow motion. The horizon blurs, the wind bends the grass, the world becomes soft. Let yourself dissolve into that softness. Deep inside every raindrop, light bends, scatters, and dances. This is why, under the right angles, rain can form a rainbow. Soft arcs of colour stretching across the world like quiet bridges of light. Have you ever wondered why rainbows feel peaceful instead of bright? Imagine walking under a light drizzle as the sun peeks through clouds. Feel the warmth on your skin, smell the newness in the air, hear droplets tapping gently on your clothes, see faint bands of colour rising above the world. Let yourself melt into that dreamlike scene. You're allowed to drift off. You don't need to wait for anything. Imagine settling into a quiet space inside yourself, where everything softens the moment you exhale. The world feels a little slower here, a little warmer, as though the air itself wants you to rest. A faint hush surrounds you, like the silence right before the first drop of rain touches the ground. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your breath deepen. Let this moment feel spacious. You don't need to stay fully awake. You don't need to follow every word. It's okay to drift whenever you're ready. Now imagine standing at the edge of an open field, a vast stretch of grass swaying gently beneath a sky that is slowly gathering clouds. The air carries a coolness that brushes your skin like soft fabric. Everything feels expectant, but not urgent, simply waiting, calmly, patiently. A quiet question drifts through the stillness. Where are you watching from tonight? You don't need to answer, just breathe. High above you, invisible currents move through the sky. Water vapor, light as breath, begins to gather into tiny droplets. They collide softly, merging, drifting, forming the earliest hints of a cloud. Clouds are not heavy things. They are made of countless tiny pieces held in suspension, floating on the slightest movement of air. Have you ever wondered how something so delicate can blanket the entire sky? Imagine the cloud forming. Feel the coolness in the air. Hear the distant hush of wind. Notice the dimming of sunlight. Let the sky slow down around you. Long ago, people believed raindrops began as tears of sky spirits or gentle blessings from the heavens. But the truth is even softer. Rain begins with dust, tiny particles drifting through the air, so small you don't even notice them. Water clings to these particles, each droplet growing quietly until it becomes heavy enough to fall. A raindrop's journey begins with stillness. It's okay if your mind wanders. It's okay to drift a little. You're safe here. Some drops fall quickly, others take their time. Some evaporate before reaching the ground. Ghost rain, they call it. Rain that falls but never lands, disappearing into warm air with a kind of graceful surrender. Have you ever seen rain streaking down from a cloud but fading before touching the earth? That is rain whispering instead of speaking. Imagine watching those pale curtains of ghost rain high above a distant desert. Feel the warm air rising. Hear the hush of wind across wide open land. Smell the faint scent of dryness just before it breaks. Notice the way the horizon softens. Let yourself soften too. The scent you smell right before it rains has a name: petrichor. It forms when dry soils release oils and tiny molecules into the air as raindrops touch them. The smell is ancient, comforting, a memory held in the earth. Picture taking a slow breath in that moment. The coolness of the rain, the warmth of the soil, the sweetness of the air. Let it settle into you like a calm tide. Sometimes raindrops form perfectly round shapes as they fall, but sometimes they flatten slightly, shaped by the wind. No two raindrops fall exactly the same way. Their paths shift constantly, air currents guiding them, breezes nudging them, gravity pulling them down with gentle patience. Everything in nature moves like this, slow, soft, unhurried. Long ago, sailors watched distant clouds build along the horizon, reading their shape like quiet stories. Tall, towering clouds meant storms were dreaming themselves awake. Flat layers meant gentle rain, the kind that soaks the earth slowly. Even now, clouds can tell us how the sky feels: light, heavy, thoughtful, restless. Have you ever looked at a dark sky and felt both calm and curious at the same time? Imagine lying in a safe place, listening to the first soft patters of rain above you. Feel the cool darkness wrapping around the world. Hear the tiny taps of water meeting leaves and rooftops. Smell the world deepening into moisture. Notice how your breath naturally slows. Let your body melt into that sound. You don't need to stay awake for this part. You may drift, you may fade, it's okay. Every raindrop that reaches the ground carries a tiny reflection of the world inside it. Under a microscope, a raindrop becomes a lens, shaping trees, sky, and light into miniature worlds. If you could hold one gently on your fingertip without it sliding away, you'd see the entire horizon curved inside a sphere smaller than a berry. Imagine that. A whole world inside a drop. A moment of sky you could almost hold. Rain teaches patience. It teaches softness. It teaches that slow things can shape everything. A gentle rain can move soil, feed rivers, awaken seeds, revive sleeping roots. Even desert plants open themselves to these moments, drinking deeply from rare clouds drifting overhead. Some seeds wait for years, silent, dry, dormant, until a single rainstorm wakes them. Picture that quiet awakening beneath the earth. Feel the roots stirring. Hear the faint push of life returning. Notice the calm rhythm of growth beginning again. Let your thoughts sink into that soil-deep peace. Sometimes drops cling to spider webs, forming tiny beads of light. Sometimes they gather on leaves, trembling softly before falling. Sometimes they merge into streams that wander through forests. Every drop moves with quiet intention. And you're allowed to move quietly too. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to drift. The sky is gathering more droplets now. The air feels heavier, but in a gentle, cooling way. The world becomes hushed, birds slowing their songs, branches swaying with more care, insects hiding under leaves. The first true rainfall of the chapter is about to begin, and you're already drifting with it. Imagine settling into a quiet moment where the air around you feels still, as if the entire world has paused just long enough for you to breathe a little deeper. The room dimly lit, shadows soft and unthreatening. You feel your body loosening gently. Your breath slows. Your mind opens just a little. And as you rest, a single question drifts across the silence like the faint ripple on a calm lake. Are you somewhere peaceful right now? You don't have to answer. You don't have to stay awake. You can drift whenever you're ready. Now imagine yourself standing beneath a vast sky, the kind that stretches endlessly in all directions, its colours muted by the soft haze before a gentle rainfall. The air feels thick but comforting, touched with the faint scent of distant water. As you inhale, you can almost taste the promise of rain, cool, earthy, ancient. Have you ever wondered how a raindrop begins? Far above you, higher than mountains, higher even than the flight paths of passing birds, tiny particles of dust drift through the atmosphere. They move slowly, patiently, like wanderers with no destination. Around them, invisible water vapour floats in every direction, each molecule searching for something to cling to, something to become. And then, quietly, it happens. A single droplet forms. Imagine that first moment, a tiny sphere of water gathering around a mote of dust, the surface smooth, delicate, and perfectly round. Feel the stillness of the air around it. Sense the calm in its creation. Hear nothing but silence. Notice how something so small can begin something so vast. Let yourself drift into that thought. That droplet begins to grow, collecting moisture, drifting slowly toward others that form with equal patience. Together they gather into a cloud, soft, grey, gentle. Not a threatening storm cloud, not something heavy or intense, but a tender cluster of droplets suspended above the world. You don't need to hear every word from here. You don't need to stay alert. If you drift off for a moment, that's perfect. Clouds themselves are full of mysteries. Some contain more water than you could ever imagine. Some stretch thousands of miles. Some form shapes that resemble memories. Others gather quietly, unseen until the moment light touches their edges. Have you ever noticed how clouds darken just before rain? Not because they become angry or fierce, but because they simply grow full. Picture a soft grey cloud drifting overhead. The air becomes cooler. Your skin tingles with the faintest drop in temperature. The wind hushes. The world feels as if it's holding its breath. And then, a single raindrop begins its fall. Imagine its journey. It drifts downward, floating through layers of warm and cool air. Sometimes it evaporates halfway down. Sometimes it splits into smaller droplets. Sometimes it merges with others. But eventually it reaches the earth with the softest tap, light, gentle, calming. Feel that raindrop touch your hand. Cool, smooth, brief, then gone, absorbed into skin or ground or memory. Let yourself soften with the rain. Long ago, before the world was covered in cities and roads, storms were seen as gentle messengers, signs of renewal, reminders that the air and water were endlessly connected. Early poets described rain as the sky weeping softly, not in sadness, but in quiet release. Farmers listened to distant thunder like a lullaby promising new growth. Imagine yourself in an open field, grass brushing your ankles. The scent of damp earth lifting toward you, raindrops beginning to gather on your hair, your clothes, your eyelashes. Hear the soft patter around you, a rhythm older than human memory. Let the sound wrap around you like a blanket. You might already be drifting. That's okay. You don't need to stay awake. Rain begins because warm air rises. Warmth lifts moisture. Moisture becomes clouds. Clouds gather droplets. Droplets fall. A cycle as quiet and patient as breathing. Have you ever wondered how the world learned to breathe this way? Imagine a storm forming slowly far out over the ocean. Warm water evaporating. Air rising in gentle spirals. Clouds expanding like soft sails. A low rumble of thunder, distant, muted, soothing. No violence, no urgency, only motion, slow and endless. Thunder itself is nothing more than the sky stretching. A sudden expansion of air warmed by a bolt of lightning so brief you may never see it. The thunder that follows rolls calmly through the clouds, echoing like a deep breath across miles of sky. Feel the vibration now, a soft rumble in the distance, deep, low, comforting. Notice how your body responds, loosening, surrendering, relaxing. Lightning too is not the fierce strike so often imagined. At its core, lightning is the sky balancing its charges, releasing tension gently, instantly, beautifully. It moves too quickly to be felt, too bright to be held, but it leaves behind the clean scent of ozone, sharp yet fresh, like the world has been washed. Imagine tasting that scent. A hint of metal, a whisper of freshness. The air smells new. Let yourself become part of that renewal. Some storms form quietly with no thunder at all, just soft rain falling straight down, each drop spaced evenly, making the world feel calmer with each gentle tap. Some storms drift across landscapes with the slow grace of a wandering cloud, pausing over forests, hovering above lakes, touching mountain tops with condensation that falls like a sigh. Imagine walking beside a still lake as rain begins to fall. Watch the surface ripple with tiny circles. Feel the cool mist on your face. Hear the soft, steady hush of droplets meet in water. Smell the sweetness of wet leaves and fresh soil. Notice how everything becomes softer. Let yourself dissolve into that moment. You don't need to hold anything right now. Not thoughts, not worries, not tension. Let it fall away like raindrops sliding down a window pane. Some storms never reach the ground. The rain evaporates mid-fall, forming faint streaks called virga, rain that appears as curtains of mist hanging beneath clouds but never touching earth. They are storms that exist only halfway, whispers of rain, beginnings without endings. Have you ever felt like that, partway between stillness and movement? It's okay to rest in that space. Imagine watching virga from a quiet hill, the sky streaked with delicate curtains of silver, the air cool, the wind mild, no sound but your breath. Let yourself drift with those falling, not falling droplets. Storms also carry the scent of petrichor, a smell created when rain releases oils stored in soil and plants. It drifts upward gently. It feels like a memory. It feels like home. It feels like something familiar returning after a long absence. Breathe in deeply. Feel that imagined scent fill you with calm. Let it settle. Imagine settling into a quiet corner of your evening, where the air feels cool and your thoughts move slowly, like clouds drifting across a peaceful sky. The world around you softens as you breathe in and out, letting tension slip gently away. The atmosphere feels calm, muted, as though the earth has wrapped itself in a blanket of grey-blue stillness. You're safe here, and the sound of distant rainfall begins to whisper through your imagination, soothing, steady, ancient. You don't need to be fully awake for this. You don't need to catch every word. Just let the rhythm settle into you. Imagine standing beneath a sky heavy with soft rolling clouds, the kind that announce rain not with thunder but with quiet promise. Feel the cool dampness in the air brushing against your skin. Hear the first faint taps of water touching leaves overhead. Notice the scent rising from the earth, fresh, deep, almost sweet. Let yourself lean into that atmosphere, calm and unhurried. Have you ever wondered why rain smells the way it does? Long ago, scientists discovered that the scent of rain, petrichor, is created by tiny molecules released from soil and plants when droplets land gently upon them. These molecules drift into the air, carried by moisture, creating that comforting aroma so many people love. It's the earth exhaling softly after being touched. Picture yourself walking down a quiet path during a gentle drizzle. Feel cool drops tapping lightly on your shoulders. Hear the soft hiss of rainfall meeting grass. Smell the damp earth rising around you. Notice how everything looks a little softer through the veil of rain. Let yourself settle deeper into this calm. Rain doesn't fall all at once. Each drop forms high in the sky when tiny particles, dust, pollen, or even microscopic bits of sea salt, give water vapor a place to cling. Slowly, with patience, droplets grow heavy enough to drift downward, moving through layers of atmosphere until they land softly on the world below. You don't need to follow every detail. Your mind can drift like a raindrop in the wind. Have you ever noticed how rain sounds different depending on where it falls? Water meeting leaves creates a delicate tapping. Water hitting rooftops becomes a steady drumming. Water landing on ponds creates circles expanding slowly outward. Water touching your skin becomes a gentle whisper. Each sound carries a rhythm, a soft conversation between sky and earth. Imagine sitting by a window as storm clouds gather. The light grows dim, wrapped in muted silver. Cool air seeps through the small cracks in the frame. A low rumble rolls somewhere far away. Not frightening, just distant, like an ancient drum echoing across the sky. Hear the build-up of rain before it begins, that moment of perfect stillness. Let yourself breathe into that stillness. Thunder is simply the sound of air expanding quickly when lightning warms it. Yet in the quiet of night, thunder feels larger, softer, almost like the sky stretching after holding its breath too long. Lightning itself is older than human memory. Bolts leap between clouds or reach toward the ground, illuminating entire landscapes for the briefest moment. The light travels almost instantly. The sound follows slowly, like a gentle reminder of distance. You don't need to stay awake for what comes next. It's okay to drift. Imagine raindrops clinging to a window pane. Watch them merge slowly into larger drops. See them slide downward in winding paths. Hear the soft trails they leave behind, like tiny footsteps disappearing into quiet. Notice how the world outside blurs just enough to feel dreamlike. Let your mind loosen. Storm clouds carry millions of tons of water, yet they float because the air inside them is warmer and lighter than the air around them. They tower upward like soft mountains in the sky, drifting across continents with gentle determination. Have you ever wondered if clouds remember the places they've passed? If storms carry the scent of oceans across deserts? If raindrops falling on your window once drifted far above distant forests? Warm air rises, cool air sinks, and together they create swirling currents that shape storms. Some storms move slowly, lingering like a whispered conversation. Others drift swiftly, like fleeting thoughts passing through your mind. Imagine walking into a warm summer rain. Feel the heat of the air mixing with cool droplets. Hear the soft splash of water gathering in small puddles. Smell the sweetness of wet grass. Notice how the world feels calmer, gentler, safer. Let yourself sway with the rhythm of falling water. Rain is a cycle that has existed for billions of years. Every drop you've ever felt has been part of oceans, clouds, rivers and storms countless times before. Water never disappears, it simply transforms, migrating through the world with quiet persistence. Perhaps you're already drifting. That's okay. Your mind can wander like mist moving across open fields. Some rains fall gently, barely touching the ground before evaporating into warm air. Some arrive in soft sheets, creating a calming curtain of sound. Some fall as mist, delicate enough to feel like a cool breath on your cheeks. Some shimmer in sunlight, creating rainbows that arch patiently across the sky. Have you ever noticed how rain brings silence to animals? Birdsong fades, insects quiet, even wind seems to pause. The world listens to the steady rhythm of water returning home. And now, let yourself rest in that rhythm. Cool air, soft sound, gentle darkness, a slow storm rolling in the distance. You don't have to hold on. You don't need to remain awake. Just float with the rainfall. Imagine settling into a calm place within yourself, where the world grows quiet and the air feels smooth around your skin. The light is dim, soft enough that your eyes can relax without effort. You breathe slowly, letting each inhale expand gently, and each exhale dissolve into the stillness around you. And as you rest here, The first thought drifts in like a cloud gliding across a pale sky. Where are you watching from tonight? You don't need to answer. You don't even need to stay awake. You're allowed to drift at any moment. Now, imagine standing beneath a wide, endless sky. The horizon stretches in every direction, with the faintest scent of distant rain brushing the air. Clouds drift slowly above you, layered in shades of silver, lavender, and muted blue. They move not with urgency, but with an ancient rhythm, the same pattern they have followed since long before oceans took their modern shape. Feel the cool breeze on your face. Hear the faint stirring of wind passing through distant fields. Notice how the sky feels alive, yet calm. Let yourself glide into this image without effort. Have you ever wondered how raindrops begin their journey? High above the earth, water rises quietly, lifted by sunlight, carried by warm air, drifting upward until it meets cooler layers of the sky. As it cools, it gathers around dust, pollen, or tiny salt crystals floating in the atmosphere. These tiny specks become the seeds of raindrops suspended gently in clouds. Imagine that. A single raindrop begins as a whisper of moisture curling around a grain of dust. Something so small becomes something so soothing. As you breathe slowly, imagine yourself inside a cloud, not surrounded by mist but by billions of tiny droplets floating weightlessly. Feel the softness, hear the hush, notice the sense of drifting. Let yourself float among them. It's okay if you feel your thoughts growing hazy. You don't need to follow every detail. You're allowed to fade in and out. Rain clouds grow when droplets gently collide, merging into larger beads of water. The process is unhurried, patient. A cloud may drift for miles, growing heavier one quiet moment at a time, and when the droplets finally become too heavy to hold, the sky releases them, not with force, but with the same softness you release a sigh after a long day. Imagine that release, a soft loosening, a gentle letting go. Have you ever noticed how the scent of the world changes just before it rains? That smell, earthy, fresh, a little sweet, is called petrichor. It comes from oils released by plants during dry periods, waiting quietly in the soil until raindrops stir them into the air. When the first droplets touch the ground, they release tiny bubbles that float upward, carrying that calming scent into your breath. Picture kneeling beside warm soil. Feel the texture beneath your fingertips. Smell the fresh air rising slowly. Hear the gentle patter of the first drops kissing the surface. Notice the peace unfolding in that moment. Let yourself settle into it. You may already be drifting. That's good. You don't need to stay fully awake. Some storms begin not with darkness, but with sunlight. Warm air rises from the ground, lifting moisture toward the sky in slow, spiraling currents. These currents gather strength, building towering clouds that stretch kilometers upward. Inside these clouds, droplets swirl, collide, merge, and fall, creating a hidden world of motion far above your head. Have you ever wondered what the inside of a storm looks like? Imagine a cathedral of vapor, lit from within by shifting shades of blue and grey. Feel the coolness of the upper air. Hear the low rumble of distant thunder, soft, rolling, like the sky turning over in its sleep. Notice the way everything feels larger, older, slower. Let yourself drift into that vastness. Lightning forms when the storm's inner currents separate tiny charges, building tension until the sky can no longer hold it. But even lightning, which seems fierce from far away, begins as a faint glow, an invisible thread of electricity searching gently through the air for connection. Imagine that glow, a soft shimmer forming inside a dark cloud. Feel the air hum faintly. Hear nothing but your own heartbeat. Notice how even powerful things begin quietly. Let yourself relax into that thought. You don't need to stay awake through all of this. You might slip under at any moment. That's perfectly fine. Rainfall has shapes. Some drops fall long and thin, some round and smooth. Some shatter into tiny droplets that dance in the air. Some drift sideways in gentle breezes. Some fall straight and heavy, like slow beads of glass. Imagine catching one on your hand. Feel its cool weight. Hear the soft tap against your skin. Notice how quickly it becomes part of your warmth. Let your breath become just as gentle. Once, scientists slowed down footage of rain and discovered that raindrops don't fall like teardrops. They fall like tiny spheres with flattened bottoms, shaped by wind and air pressure. Their form changes with every shift in the breeze, dancing through invisible currents. Have you ever felt like you were drifting through unseen currents too, carried gently without knowing exactly where? Storms are not chaos, they are choreography. Every gust has a reason. Every raindrop follows a path shaped by gravity, heat, wind, and time. Every cloud transforms with patience, allowing water to fall only when the world is ready. Imagine lying beneath a wide roof as rain begins. Hear the tap, tap, tap of droplets above you. Feel the warmth beneath your blanket. Smell the distant dampness in the air. Notice how your breath slows to match the rhythm. Let yourself sink deeper into rest. You don't need to listen alertly. It's okay to drift. It's okay to let the sound of rain carry you. Some rain evaporates before it touches the ground, falling as ghostly streaks called virga. Some storms release sheets of rain so thin they look like silk drifting through the air. Some clouds produce rain on one side and sunlight on the other, creating soft arcs of colour, rainbows born from tiny prisms in each droplet. Imagine standing in that light. A faint arc stretches across the sky. Feel the cool moisture on your face. Hear distant thunder fading. Notice the blending of rain and sunlight. Let yourself dissolve into the quiet colours. Imagine settling into a place where the air feels cool and comforting, where the light outside your window is dim enough to soften your breathing, and where every sound in the distance melts into a soothing hum. You're safe here. You are held here. And as your chest rises and falls in a slow, natural rhythm, a gentle question drifts toward you like a cloud passing in a pale morning sky. Are you in bed, on a couch, or somewhere peaceful? You don't need to respond. You don't even need to stay awake. You may drift whenever your body decides. Picture yourself standing beneath a quiet sky just before rainfall. The light is muted, as if the world has wrapped itself in soft grey fabric. The air feels different now, cooler, slightly heavier, carrying a faint scent of distant water. As you breathe in, the sky above you begins to form gentle shapes, slow-moving clouds stretching like calm oceans suspended in the air. Have you ever wondered how clouds can look so heavy yet float so easily? Long ago, observers standing at the edges of fields noticed that certain clouds carried a softness unlike any other. They watched as the sky slowly gathered moisture from lakes, rivers, forests, and even the breath of living things. This moisture rose quietly into colder air, forming droplets too small for the human eye to see. Only when billions gathered together did they become clouds, soft, drifting bodies of tiny water spheres suspended in the sky like silvery cotton. Imagine those tiny droplets now, each one lighter than the smallest tear, each one drifting gently upward. Feel the coolness of the air around you. Hear the faint hum of wind high above the world. Notice how the clouds take shape without sound. Let yourself settle into that hush. It's okay if your eyes feel heavy. It's okay if you don't catch every fact. You can drift in and out like a leaf floating on slow water. Clouds gather silently, forming towering shapes during the day and flattening into soft sheets at night. Some rise thousands of meters high, holding millions of gallons as water. Others remain thin, stretched quietly across the sky like whispers of fog. But all of them share a gentle truth. They're always moving, even when they appear still. Have you ever noticed how watching clouds can slow your thoughts? Rain begins long before a drop ever touches your skin. Inside the clouds, tiny droplets bump together softly, merging, separating, merging again. Some collect dust particles lifted from deserts. Others gather fragments of salt carried upward from ocean waves. These tiny specks act as seeds, nuclei for droplets to form around. Imagine this microscopic world, droplets drifting, soft collisions, a quiet choreography. Feel the air cool subtly around your imagination. Hear nothing but a faint, distant rumble. So soft it feels like memory. Let your shoulders loosen. As rain forms, the droplets grow heavier, but they never rush. They simply wait for the moment when gravity whispers that it's time to fall. Then they begin their descent, slow at first, then steady, drifting from cloud to earth in an elegant motion shaped by air currents, temperature, and the whisper of wind. Some droplets evaporate before reaching the ground, an invisible dance called virga, rainfall that trails from clouds like thin veils of silver, touching nothing but air. Have you ever seen rain that falls without ever landing? Imagine standing beneath one of these clouds. Look up into the grey light. Feel the cool breeze brushing your arms. Hear the soft hiss of falling vapour that never reaches you. Smell the faint freshness it leaves in the air. Notice how peaceful it feels. Let yourself drift into that sensation. When rain finally reaches the earth, the first drops stir the scent of petrichor, a soft, earthy perfume released by dry soil awakening to moisture. This scent comes from tiny molecules called geosmin, produced by quiet organisms living in the ground. When raindrops fall, they lift these molecules into the air, creating the familiar smell that so many people associate with calm nostalgia or deep memory. Perhaps you've felt that comfort, the smell of rain before it fully arrives. You don't need to stay awake. Your mind may already be dissolving into calm. That's perfect. Rain travels through the sky at different speeds depending on droplet size. Small droplets fall gently, drifting side to side on currents like feathers. Larger ones descend in smooth, steady lines. Some take minutes to reach the ground. Others fall much faster. Imagine following a single droplet on its journey. See it forming inside a cloud. Feel the cool vapour surrounding it. Hear the quiet stir of wind as it begins to fall. Notice how it drifts, sways, slows, speeds, then settles onto the earth with the softest touch. Let yourself fall with it, slowly, peacefully. There is a gentle fact hidden in every storm. Raindrops are not shaped like teardrops. They begin as spheres, then flatten slightly as they fall. Their shape shifts constantly, changing with pressure and wind. None are identical. None remain the same for long. Have you ever wondered how something so simple can be so varied? Rainfall has many moods: soft drizzle that feels like a whisper, steady showers that create soft rhythm on rooftops, gentle downpours that wash the world clean, warm tropical rains that cling to your skin like silk, cool autumn rains that fall with a sense of memory, nighttime storms that rumble in the distance like a sleeping giant. Imagine one of these rains now. Choose the one that feels most soothing. Feel its texture in your mind. Hear its rhythm. Smell its scent on the air. Let it soften the edges of your thoughts. As you relax, consider this. Raindrops can fall through sunlight at just the right angle to form a rainbow. This arc of colour is not a solid object but a living interaction between light, droplets, and your eyes. Move slightly, and the rainbow moves with you. Step forward, and it shifts. No two people see the exact same rainbow. Imagine standing in a misty field with sunlight breaking through clouds. Feel warmth on your face. Hear the pattering of light rain around you. Notice the arc of colours appearing gently in the sky. Let that image soften your breath. Some storms begin with warm air rising gently. Some begin with cold fronts sliding in quiet lines. Some form over oceans, travelling thousands of miles. Some remain in one place, raining softly for hours. Some bring lightning that flickers like quiet thoughts inside a dreaming sky. Have you ever wondered if storms have personalities? Imagine a slow-moving storm at dusk. Hear low rumbles far away, soft, almost like a deep sigh. See flashes behind clouds, diffused and gentle, not harsh. Feel cool air brushing over your skin, carrying the faint smell of wet stone. Notice how it makes your body ease. Let yourself settle deeper. You don't need to stay awake for the second half. You can drift whenever you're ready. Imagine settling into a quiet place within yourself, a place where the air feels cool and smooth, like the calm breath before a distant rainfall. The world around you softens, edges dissolving into a peaceful blur as your thoughts drift like light mist across an endless horizon. The sky above you feels wide, open, and tenderly alive, holding secrets that move with slow grace. You don't need to stay awake. You don't need to follow every word. It's okay to drift. Imagine looking upward into a pale silver sky. Clouds gather softly, not with force but with patience. They form from tiny droplets, too small to see, each one rising gently from warm oceans, quiet rivers, and the soft exhale of green forests. As they drift upward, they cool, they slow, they cluster together, forming clouds that move like floating mountains made of breath. Feel the coolness of that sky on your skin. Hear the faint hum of distant air. Notice the soft brightness of high clouds drifting quietly overhead. Let yourself settle into the calm of that image. Have you ever wondered how something as gentle as mist becomes something as soothing as rain? Long ago, people believed rain was a blessing from the heavens, a soft cleansing of the world, a quiet renewal, and in many ways, it still is. Rain begins with the smallest touch, a tiny vapor rising, an invisible current lifting, a delicate transformation from warm to cool. Nothing happens quickly, nothing happens loudly. The sky prepares with the slow patience of nature's deepest rhythm. You don't need to hear everything. You might already feel heavy-eyed. That's perfect. Just breathe. Imagine a warm day where the air feels thick with moisture. Leaves glisten faintly. Birds slow their songs. The world holds its breath. Above you, clouds deepen. Soft greys blending into silver-blue layers that stretch across the sky like gentle blankets. These clouds are full of life, billions of droplets, tiny crystals forming, dissolving, merging, each one drifting through the cloud like a dancer moving in slow motion. And as you breathe softly, here are quiet truths drifting toward you, shaped by rain. Rain begins when droplets become heavy enough to fall. Some merge together with slow, steady grace. Some grow from ice crystals that form in the coldest layers of the cloud. Some fall as mist, some as gentle rain, some as heavy drops that tap softly on your window. Have you ever listened to the soft tapping of rain and felt your mind settle like a calm pond? Imagine that sound now, a faint pattering, a steady rhythm, a soothing whisper on rooftops, leaves and earth, each drop a tiny world falling from the sky. Let yourself drift deeper. There is a kind of cloud called nimbostratus, a gentle, wide layer that brings long, soft rain. It blankets the sky, stretching like a calm grey sea above you. Its rain is steady, patient, comforting. No thunder, no hurry, just a slow, even fall that quiets the world. There is also the towering cumulonimbus, the great storm cloud rising miles into the sky. But even these giants begin quietly, little puffs of warm air rising higher and higher, pulled upward by invisible hands. Slowly they grow, stacking layer upon layer like ancient mountains forming in the sky. Feel the power of that height, but softened. Hear the low hum of distant thunder forming quietly in its heart. Smell the faint scent of rain waiting to fall. Notice how storms begin with calm, not chaos. Let this idea settle gently over you. You're doing nothing wrong by drifting. You're not supposed to stay alert. This is a safe place to fall half asleep. Long ago, sailors watched clouds to understand the coming weather. They noticed that when the sky turned a deep shade of blue-grey and the air grew still, rain was quietly gathering above them. Farmers felt it in the air, the heaviness, the softness, the quiet shift. They didn't rush. They simply watched and waited. There is wisdom in waiting, in stillness, in letting the sky unfold. Have you ever felt the world growing quiet before rain? That hush, that gentle pause, that soft moment when everything seems to listen. Picture that moment now. Imagine standing outside as the first drop touches your skin. Feel its coolness. Hear the soft sound it makes as it lands. Notice the way your breath matches the rhythm of the falling drops. Let yourself sway gently with it. Some raindrops fall through warm layers of air and become mist before reaching the ground, disappearing like thoughts fading before sleep. Some evaporate mid-air in a phenomenon called virga, creating curtains of rain that never touch earth, silent, ghost-like, beautifully fleeting. Imagine watching that from a distance, the sky releasing rain that dissolves before it meets the land. Feel the softness of that sight. Let yourself drift with it. You don't need to hold on to anything, just breathe softly. You're safe here. Storms often begin with updrafts, columns of warm air rising quietly into the sky. These updrafts lift droplets high into cold regions where they freeze, melt, freeze again. Every hailstone, every raindrop, every flake of snow carries a tiny history of its journey inside the cloud. Imagine that journey from the droplet's point of view. Float upward, drift through cool layers, glide through warm pockets. Feel the gentle push of air lifting you higher. Notice how the sky cradles you like a soft hand. Let yourself drift. Some droplets rise so high they brush the edges of the stratosphere. Some fall immediately. Some spin within the cloud for hours before descending. Nature never hurries. It simply moves in its own time. You don't need to hurry either. Let the calm settle deeper into you. Let the sky above you soften. Let the first half of this chapter fade like distant rainfall. It's okay to drift. Imagine settling beneath a vast sky, the air around you softened by the promise of rain. You feel the quiet weight of clouds gathering above, not in a dramatic rush but in a slow, patient way, like someone pulling a cool blanket over the world. The breeze hums with a soft electricity, not frightening, not urgent, simply there. A gentle reminder that the sky breathes just as you do. And before we continue, allow a single question to float through your thoughts, whispered as lightly as falling mist. Are you in bed, on a couch, or somewhere peaceful? You don't need to answer. You don't even need to stay awake. Let yourself drift whenever your body wishes. Imagine standing beneath an old wooden awning as the first drop falls. Feel the cool air against your skin. Hear that tiny tap, soft, hesitant. Notice the way the world seems to lean into the sound. Let yourself drift toward its rhythm. Rain begins the same way stories do, with a quiet gathering of intention. High above, invisible to most eyes, water vapor joins with dust and pollen, forming droplets too light to fall. They drift suspended, waiting for the perfect moment. Some clouds cradle these droplets for hours, some hold them for days, some carry them across oceans before releasing them again, softly, like a sigh returning home. Have you ever wondered how far a single raindrop travels before touching the earth? Some droplets begin over warm seas, rising into bright air, drifting into towering clouds that wander across continents. Others form over gentle lakes, carried by breezes that barely stir the grass. And some droplets, small as whispers, begin inside storms powerful enough to reshape entire landscapes, but the droplet itself remains calm, drifting, waiting, unhurried. Long ago, people believed storms were the sky's emotions made visible. Joy, sorrow, contemplation, anger. But now we know something quieter, something more comforting. Storms are part of the Earth's breath. They are cycles of rising and falling, gathering and releasing. They are reminders that nothing, not even the sky, holds tension forever. Imagine listening now. Hear the soft patter of rain against leaves. Hear the distant roll of thunder, low and slow, like a deep exhale. Hear how every sound arrives wrapped in softness. Let yourself sink into that stillness. Rain carries stories in every drop. Some droplets hold traces of ancient seas. Some carry the breath of forests. Some hold the memory of volcanic steam rising from old Earth. Every drop has travelled farther than you can imagine. You might not remember this part later. That's okay. You don't need to. Deep within storms, lightning takes shape in silence long before its flash appears. Millions of tiny ice crystals rub against one another, exchanging electrons, building tension in the sky's hidden chambers. It is a slow process, patient, invisible. And then, in a single moment, balance shifts and light appears, not as violence, but as release. Have you ever felt that in yourself? A gentle release after holding too much? Thunder follows not as a shout, but as a wave. It rolls through the sky like distant drums felt more than heard. Sometimes thunder arrives so quietly that you don't hear it at all. You feel it, soft vibrations through the air, settling into your chest like a low hum. Imagine floating beneath this sky. Feel the cool air brushing your arms. Hear the rain thickening around you. Smell the rich scent of petrichor rising from the earth. Notice how calm your breath becomes. Let yourself sway with the rhythm of the storm. Rain does something extraordinary when it touches the ground. it wakes the scent of ancient earth. Petrichor comes from oils released by plants, from spores stirred into the air, from minerals within soil awakening like distant memories. This scent drifts softly, carried by the breeze, reminding you of forests, rivers, childhood, quiet mornings. Have you ever noticed how the smell of rain feels like nostalgia? Storms are full of gentle facts seldom spoken aloud. Raindrops are not teardrop-shaped. They are round at first, then flatten into tiny wobbling domes as they fall. Some storms release drops so small they feel like mist kissing your skin. Others release large, warm drops that splatter softly on your shoulders, each one a tiny world falling apart and becoming one with the earth again. In deserts, rain can evaporate before touching the ground, forming ghost rain, virga, falling silently through heated air. Imagine that now, sheets of rain that never quite arrive, cooling the air, softening the light, disappearing before they reach you. Let yourself drift with that image. There are gentle storms that wander through night, barely heard. They pass with soft murmurs of wind and occasional taps against windows, like someone checking in on you while you sleep. These are the storms that cradle you, that lull you deeper into rest. You may already be drifting. That's perfect. There's no need to stay alert. Lightning can form inside clouds without ever touching the ground, creating silent brightness that pulses like a heartbeat behind thick walls of vapor. Some call this heat lightning, though it isn't caused by heat at all. It's simply the sky glowing behind distant storms too far away for thunder to reach you. Imagine that silent flash. See it brighten the horizon. Watch it fade as gently as it came. Let it soften your thoughts. Storms also guide life. Birds sense pressure changes long before rain begins. Frogs sing more loudly in rising humidity. Plants open their pores to drink moisture from the air. Even soil wakes up, shifting and breathing under the touch of water. Have you ever wondered whether the earth feels relief when rain returns? Imagine kneeling in wet grass. Feel the soft blades against your palms. Hear droplets gathering on leaves, falling one by one. Smell the deep, earthy sweetness of water sinking into soil. Notice how peaceful everything becomes under rain. Let yourself relax into that calm. There is a phenomenon called a rain shadow. Gentle, quiet, profound. When mountains catch clouds on one side, releasing rain over forests and rivers, the other side remains dry, bright, open. Two worlds separated by a ridge. Two moods of the sky divided by stone. Storms shape landscapes without force. Rain carves canyons grain by grain. Mist softens cliffs over centuries. Water weaves rivers through patience, not power. Life thrives under this tenderness. You don't need to stay awake. You don't need to follow every image. Let them wash through you like warm rainfall. Some storms are warm, arriving with thick, heavy drops that feel like the sky is melting into your skin. Some storms are cool, brushing past with shivers of wind. Some storms whisper. Some storms hum. Some storms barely speak at all. Imagine rain falling on a rooftop, the soft tapping, the rhythm shifting with the wind, the way it lulls you deeper. Feel your mind drifting. Feel your breath slowing. Let yourself settle. There is something ancient about rain, older than mountains, older than rivers, older than the soil beneath your feet. Long before trees grew, before oceans settled into their basins, before the continents found their place, rain fell on a young earth, shaping it drop by drop. You're listening to something timeless. And as this final chapter settles around you, feel the weight of the world soften. Feel the sky's breath become your own. Feel your body release everything it held. You are safe. You are calm. You are drifting. Let the storm move gently through you. Let the rain wash the last thoughts from your mind. Let yourself dissolve into the quiet. You don't need to hold on. You don't need to stay awake. Let yourself drift, slowly, softly, deeply. Imagine the world slowing again, settling into a deep, unbroken quiet, as if the sky itself were exhaling after holding its breath for a very long time. The air feels gentle against your skin, cool and almost silken, carrying the faint smell of distant rain, soft, earthy, and comforting, like the memory of a calm evening long before you were ever busy or tired. Clouds drift above you in vast, slow shapes, each one moving with the patience of ancient mountains slowly changing through ages of wind. You don't need to follow them. You don't need to keep your eyes open. Just let them float across the mind's horizon the same way your thoughts drift across the calm surface of sleep. Some storms begin this way, quietly, with a subtle thickening of the air, not a warning. Not an urgency, just a shift, a gentle deepening of the sky's colour, a whisper of coolness brushing across your arms, a low hum that you don't hear with your ears but feel somewhere deeper, somewhere quieter. Rain often decides to fall long before the first drop reaches the ground. It forms high above in silence, gathering piece by piece, droplet by droplet, building soft weight in the bellies of clouds. Have you ever noticed how peaceful the world becomes just before rain begins? How even birds seem to pause their songs, as if listening to something ancient? You don't need to answer. Just breathe. Let your mind soften. Imagine standing at the edge of an open field as the first droplets appear. They fall lightly, like shy visitors tapping gently at your shoulders. The smell of wet earth rises slowly, wrapping around you like the warmth of a familiar blanket. That scent, petrichor, is created when tiny molecules trapped in soil drift upward the moment droplets touch the ground. Even the earth sighs with relief when the rain returns. You might feel your breathing slow here. That's perfect. You're allowed to drift. Every raindrop has a story older than any memory you've ever held. Some droplets once rested in ancient seas. Others hid inside glaciers that slept for thousands of years. Others floated as mist in forgotten jungles. Now they fall softly beside you, returning to the ground only to begin their cycle again. Imagine reaching out your hand as more drops fall. Feel the coolness. Hear the soft rhythm building around you. Notice how each drop seems to land in its own perfect timing. Let that steady, gentle beat loosen your thoughts. Thunder, when it arrives, isn't a shout. Not really. It's a deep, slow unfolding, air expanding softly after lightning warms it in a single, bright moment. The sound rolls across the sky like a heavy blanket being laid over the world, far away at first, then closer, then fading again into the distance. It never asks anything of you. It simply passes through the sky, a slow reminder of nature's quiet rhythms. Have you ever felt comfort in that rolling sound? The way it fills the world yet somehow brings calm instead of fear. Imagine lying indoors during a storm, wrapped in soft fabric, hearing rain tapping gently at a window. There's a rhythm to it, steady, soothing, patient. The kind of rhythm that makes you forget what time it is, what day it is, what thoughts you carried earlier. The world outside becomes a soft blur, and the only thing that matters is this moment, this breath, this quiet. Lightning, too, has a gentle side when you observe it from safety. It brightens the sky like a soft camera flash, revealing cloud shapes for the briefest moment before fading back into darkness. Some flashes never touch the ground at all. They drift inside clouds, illuminating them from within like glowing lanterns quietly breathing. You may be drifting already. If you are, that's exactly right. If you're still awake, just let these images dissolve slowly. Imagine rain falling on leaves above you, each droplet rolling down smooth surfaces before slipping off the edge and landing softly in the soil. Hear the delicate tapping as countless droplets perform their own tiny songs. Smell the clean freshness that follows, like the world has been gently washed and reset. Some storms never raise their voice. They come and go as softly as a whispered thought, leaving the world calmer than before. And now imagine that calm settling over you, not just around your body, but inside your mind, inside your breath, inside the small quiet spaces where tension used to live. Feel everything inside you soften, drift, settle. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to think about. You've reached the end. You can rest now. Good night.